What if I told you that sometimes the greatest heroes in Scripture are the ones whose names were never written? The sun was setting over the hills of Israel, bleeding orange and gold into the horizon. But beauty could not cover the tension gripping the nation. David, the great king, was growing older, his kingdom shaken by rebellion after rebellion. And like a flame waiting for the smallest wind to rise again, trouble was coming. Sheba, the son of Bichri, a Benjamite with fire in his voice and rebellion in his heart, lifted his trumpet and shouted words that cracked the fragile peace. "We have no share in David." Crowds stirred. Soldiers tensed. Mothers gathered their children. It was happening again, another revolt. And as Sheba fled toward the northern borders, carrying rebellion in his mouth like a torch, the kingdom trembled. Armies were gathering. Joab, the commander, known for his precision and blood-cold strategies, mounted his horse. His eyes had a single mission: end the rebellion. Find Sheba. Even if the cost was a city. And far, far away, beyond the noise of the armies, beyond the decisions of kings, was a quiet city called Abel Beth-Maakah, sitting peacefully under the evening breeze. Inside that city lived a woman whose wisdom was known, but whose name the world never recorded. Yet heaven remembered her. And heaven was about to use her. Abel Beth-Maakah was not like other cities. Its streets were lined with elders, artisans, mothers, traders, people who cherished peace like a rare jewel. Stories said that when Israel needed wisdom, when two tribes could not settle a dispute, when counsel was dry, the people would say, "Let's go to Abel. Wisdom dwells there." And they were right. In a stone house near the center of the city, surrounded by scrolls, herbs, and lamps burning low into the night, sat the wise woman of Abel. Her hair streaked with silver, her eyes sharp as a hawk's, her presence silent but powerful. When she spoke, children listened. When she advised, elders nodded. When she warned, the city obeyed. But she was not known for her authority, she was known for her understanding. The kind that made enemies reconsider. The kind that kept homes intact. The kind that preserved generations. That night, as she crushed herbs in her bowl, a strange wind moved through the city, whispers, murmurs, footsteps running. A young girl burst through her doorway. Mother of wisdom. The news. David's army. Joab is coming. They say the rebel fled here. The woman paused. Her hands stilled. Her spirit sensed the weight of what was unfolding. War was coming to their gates. And though she did not yet know how, she carried the mantle of peace. The ground trembled before the people saw anything. Thwum, thwum. The heavy battering rams of Joab's army struck the earth like rolling thunder. From the high walls of Abel, watchmen squinted into the horizon. The dust clouds were rising, thick, dangerous, deliberate. Spears glinted. Horses surged. The sound of command echoed like harsh steel. Prepare the rams. Tear down the wall. Panic rippled through the streets of Abel. Mothers clutched their children. Men grabbed tools instead of swords. Windows shut. Doors barred. Prayers rose. Joab was not a man of negotiations. He was a man of results. A man who solved problems with force and precision. And he had already decided. If Sheba was inside Abel, the entire city would fall. Inside her home, the wise woman stepped outside slowly, her face calm, her steps measured. People ran past her, gasping and crying, but she remained still, listening, discerning, absorbing the sound of war, because in that sound, she heard more than danger, she heard a calling. The city needed a voice. A negotiator. A shield stronger than stone. Someone who could speak where others feared. She breathed deeply, lifted her robe slightly, and moved toward the city gate. She was ready to meet Joab. The battering ram struck the outer wall. Boom! The stones shook. Cries rose from within the city. Joab's soldiers shouted, the next strike was coming. But before Joab gave the signal, a single voice called out from the wall. Commander Joab. Hear me. The soldiers froze. Joab looked up, eyes narrowing. There, framed by the setting sun, stood the wise woman, calm, steady, unafraid. Joab stepped forward, annoyance flashing in his eyes. Who are you, woman? Step aside. This city hides a traitor. But she did not flinch. She did not bow. She did not yell. She simply spoke, clear, measured, authoritative. I am one who seeks peace and faithfulness in Israel. Tell me, Joab, why would you destroy a mother city, a place known for wisdom and counsel? The murmurs behind her softened. The army quieted. Even Joab hesitated. Her voice carried weight, not force, but truth. He spoke again, this time more controlled. We seek Sheba son of Bichri. Deliver him, and I will withdraw. The woman's eyes sharpened. She had her answer. The fate of the city rested on her next move. She turned to go, her robe flowing behind her like a banner of peace. She would gather the elders. She would gather the people. She would save her city. Because wisdom always finds a way. The wise woman moved through the streets of Abel with urgency, yet her steps were steady. The people parted for her, fear flickering in their eyes, searching her face for answers. The elders hurried to meet her in the central courtyard, men seasoned with age, robes draped loosely, faces pale from the knowledge that Joab stood at their gates with destruction in his hands. One of them trembled as he spoke. Mother, the walls cannot withstand his rams. If Joab strikes again, Abel will fall. Another elder clenched his fists. We are innocent. Why should one man's rebellion destroy an entire city? The wise woman lifted her hand, and silence fell instantly. Our city is a mother in Israel, she said softly. A source of counsel for generations. We do not win battles with swords. We win with wisdom. Her eyes moved across their faces, fearful, desperate, uncertain. We do not have the strength to fight Joab, she continued. But we have something far more powerful than his army. And what is that? An elder whispered. Unity, she replied. And obedience to the truth. She explained Joab's demand. Sheba was the target. Not the city. Not the people. One man had brought them to the edge of destruction. A heavy stillness filled the courtyard. Then the oldest elder nodded slowly. If saving Abel means giving up this rebel, then wisdom must lead us. The woman lowered her head slightly, acknowledging their courage. Then let us do what is right, she said. For the peace of Israel, and for the sake of generations yet unborn. Word spread through Abel like fire. Sheba is hiding among us. He brought Joab to our gates. Find him before the walls fall. Men and women combed through alleys, searched storage rooms, climbed ladders to rooftops, and opened every shutter. Mothers held babies close while fathers whispered prayers under their breath. High above the city, the wise woman climbed the wall steps, observing everything with sharp eyes. Her spirit was steady, but her mind raced. Sheba was cunning. Desperate. A cornered animal. She scanned the rooftops and narrow paths below. The people moved like streams of water, flowing toward every possible hiding place. And then a moment of stillness. A faint movement near a storage tower. A shadow slipping behind a stack of pottery jars. Her heart tightened. Sheba. The traitor who endangered her city. The man who brought armies to their gates. The rebel who used their peace as his shield. She motioned to the guards at the gate with urgency. There. The tower. Block every exit. The guards moved instantly, quiet, swift, disciplined. Inside the tower, Sheba pressed himself against the wall, breathing fast, eyes wide with terror. He knew the end was seconds away. His rebellion had trapped him in a city that valued peace more than his life. Through the wooden door, he heard the wise woman's voice. Your rebellion ends today. The guards surrounded the tower with spears drawn. The wise woman approached slowly, her robe brushing the stone path, her presence like a calm wind before a storm. Inside, Sheba backed away from the door, gripping his dagger. His voice cracked with desperation. You can't turn me over. I am fighting for freedom. David has no claim. The wise woman cut him off with a single sentence, spoken with authority that pierced like an arrow. You are not fighting for freedom. You are hiding from justice. Sheba fell silent. She stepped closer to the door, her voice low but firm. You stood against the Lord's anointed. You set tribes against tribes. You brought Joab to a peaceful city. Your choices brought blood to our gates. The door creaked under the weight of her words. But listen carefully, she continued. Your death will bring peace. Your survival will destroy a city. Sheba's dagger trembled in his hand. The wise woman placed her palm on the wooden door, steady and unmoving. You have written your own fate, she said. But Abel will not fall with you. Outside, the guards awaited her command. She lifted her chin. Prepare him, she said quietly. And may the Lord have mercy. Night fell over Abel with eerie stillness. No more running. No more shouting. Only waiting. On the wall, torches flickered as the wise woman stood with the elders, their faces illuminated by flame. Below them, the people gathered, mothers, fathers, children, everyone aware that the fate of the city rested on a single decision. Her voice broke the silence. Joab demands proof. Proof that the rebel is no longer among us. Proof that Abel stands with Israel, not against it. She looked across the crowd, tired, fearful, hopeful. Tonight, she said quietly, we choose life. The elders nodded. The guard stepped forward. The deed was done quickly and soberly. Then, with solemn reverence, they carried the evidence to the city wall. The wise woman lifted her hand. Joab waits, she whispered. And with that command, the guards delivered the rebel's head over the wall. The torchlight glowed against her calm face as she watched it fall to the commander below. A gasp spread among the people. A sigh of relief followed. Because they all knew. The city was saved. Silence hung in the air after the guards dropped the final proof of justice. Torches flickered along the city wall as Joab's soldiers shifted uneasily, awaiting their commander's reaction. Joab stepped forward. His hard eyes scanned the ground, then lifted slowly toward the woman standing high above the wall, calm, resolved, unwavering. In that moment, even Joab, a man unshaken by war or blood, understood something. This woman had done what entire battalions could not. She ended a rebellion without a battle. She saved a nation without drawing a sword. He raised his hand. A single signal. The soldiers halted the rams. The engines of war stilled. The torches of destruction dimmed. The mighty army that had come to crush a city now began to turn back. As Joab rode away, dust swirling around him, he cast one last glance at the walls of Abel, at the woman who had challenged him and prevailed. And without a word, he withdrew his army. Behind the walls, a soft murmur rippled through the crowd. The people exhaled. Some wept. Some hugged their children. Some collapsed to their knees in gratitude. The wise woman lowered her head, whispering only one sentence. Peace has returned. The next morning, sunlight poured over Abel Beth-Maakah like a blessing. The birds returned to their nests, vendors opened their shutters cautiously, and children peeked from behind doorways to see if the world had truly changed. By midday, the courtyard was full. The elders stood around the wise woman, their voices thick with emotion. You saved us, one elder said, bowing deeply. You saved our sons, another added. And our daughters, whispered a mother from behind him. The wise woman lifted her hand, gentle, humble. I did not save you alone, she said softly. The Lord's wisdom saved us. And your courage to act saved your children. The elders exchanged glances. They knew humility when they heard it, and hers was authentic. She did not seek glory. She did not demand titles. She did not request rewards. She only cared about peace. The people brought her gifts, baskets of figs, jars of honey, woven fabrics, tokens of gratitude from trembling hands now steady. Children wrapped their arms around her. Women kissed her robe. Men bowed their heads with reverence. But her response was the same each time. Use your lives wisely. Use your voices boldly. Abel remained safe because Abel chose unity. And the city rejoiced. Though Abel was saved, its walls bore the scars of Joab's approach. Cracked stones. Splintered beams. Deep grooves from battering rams. The wise woman stood with the architects, builders, and elders, her eyes scanning every wound in the fortress. These walls protected us, she said. Now we must restore them. Work began immediately. Men carried heavy stones on their backs. Women mixed clay, poured water, shaped bricks. Children fetched small tools and swept the debris. Young men climbed scaffolds to reinforce the towers. It was not just construction, it was healing. The wise woman worked among them. Not giving orders from a chair, but carrying stones, helping children gather clay, brushing dust from the hands of the laborers. People watched her, inspired. She is not just wise, one builder said. She is one of us. By sunset, the walls began to look whole again, stronger, even, than before. Their unity had become their mortar. The wise woman placed her hand on the newly set stone and whispered, Never again let fear divide us. Let wisdom guard Abel as these walls do. That evening, after the workers retired and torches flickered across the quiet city, the eldest elder approached the wise woman. He was old, older than the city's oldest stories, his beard white, his staff worn smooth from decades of use. He sat beside her on a stone bench overlooking the moonlit rooftops. For many years, he began, Abel has been called a city of wisdom. But today, you reminded us why. She smiled gently. The Lord gives wisdom to any who seek it. He nodded slowly. But not many have the courage to speak it boldly. They sat in silence for a moment as the cool breeze blew across their faces. You faced Joab, the elder said. A man feared across Israel. You stood before him with nothing but truth. That is not ordinary courage. She folded her hands. I faced him because someone had to. Silence would have killed us faster than Joab's rams. The elder looked at her with deep respect. You carry the heart of a leader, he said. Not a leader appointed by men, but one chosen by purpose. She turned her gaze toward the distant mountains. Leadership is not a title, she whispered. It is a burden. And today the burden was heavy. The elder nodded again. But it was carried well. The next morning, the city was brighter than it had been in days. Children ran through the restored courtyard, chasing birds and laughing as though war had never touched their gates, but as the wise woman walked along the stone path, several children gathered around her, curious, wide-eyed, innocent. A little boy tugged her robe. Mother of wisdom, he asked softly, were you afraid when Joab shouted at you? She stopped. The city noise quieted around them. Yes, she answered honestly. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is choosing the right thing even when fear whispers loudly. A little girl looked up at her. Did Joab want to destroy us? The woman knelt down so her eyes were level with theirs. Joab wanted justice. But he lost sight of mercy. Sometimes powerful people forget to look closely, and innocent people suffer, because rebels always hide where peace lives. But peace will always stand up for itself. The children nodded thoughtfully, absorbing every word as though each sentence carved wisdom into their hearts. She placed her hands gently on their heads. Remember this, she said softly. Use your voices to protect others. And never fear speaking up for truth. The children smiled and ran off, carrying her words like seeds planted into the future of Abel. That evening, as the city settled into quiet, the wise woman retreated to her rooftop. The stars stretched above her like an endless tapestry, and the cool night breeze carried the faint scent of olive trees. For the first time since Joab arrived, she allowed herself to breathe deeply, slow, steady, unhurried. She looked toward the northern horizon where Joab's army had disappeared the day before. War may come again, she whispered to the sky. But Abel must always remain a home for wisdom. She picked up a small clay lamp beside her, lighting it with careful hands. The flame danced gently, casting warm shadows across her face. She closed her eyes and prayed. Lord, give me strength for the days ahead. Help me guide this city with justice and compassion. And let not wisdom fade from these walls. Her heart grew heavy as she remembered Sheba, his desperation, his choices, his downfall. Even rebels were sons of Israel. Even traitors were once children with dreams. Peace is costly, she murmured. And wisdom sometimes cuts deep. But there was no regret in her voice. Only resolve. Only peace. As the moon rose high, she sat still, like a watchful guardian over her beloved city. The next day, word reached Abel that travelers approached, leaders from nearby towns who had heard what happened. They came not with weapons but with respect. By noon, a delegation stood at the city gate, merchants, scribes, elders, and women of standing. Their robes were fine, their mounts decorated. They entered Abel with gifts and solemn expressions. The wise woman welcomed them with grace. One scribe stepped forward. We heard of your courage, he said. A city saved by the wisdom of one woman. We came to honor you. Another woman added, your name is now known across the northern tribes. The wise woman raised a hand gently. Honor Abel, she said softly. Not me. This city acted together. Wisdom is never the work of one mind alone. The delegation exchanged a glance, impressed, humbled, moved. A merchant handed her a beautifully carved wooden box. A gift, he said. For the woman who saved a mother city. She accepted it but immediately passed it to the nearest child. Let this belong to the next generation, she said. May it remind them that peace is worth fighting for. The visitors bowed low. You are truly a mother in Israel, the scribe whispered. Later that afternoon, the wise woman gathered the youth of Abel beneath the shade of a large fig tree at the edge of the courtyard. She sat on a stone bench while they formed a circle around her. Her voice was calm when she began. Wisdom must be taught, not assumed. And peace must be practiced, not merely desired. The young people leaned forward eagerly. One day, she continued, each of you will lead, your homes, your families, your tribes. You will face moments that demand courage. Not the courage to fight, but the courage to speak. She picked up a small stone from the ground. This stone is small, she said, holding it up. But throw it into water, and waves will spread far beyond its size. She looked deeply into their eyes. Your words are stones. Your choices are stones. Your silence is a stone. Every action you take sends ripples into generations. The young people sat in awed silence. One boy raised his hand timidly. How do we learn to be wise? She smiled. By listening before acting. By understanding before speaking. By seeking peace even when anger feels easier. She placed the stone into the boy's hand, and by remembering that every ripple shapes the world. Late one afternoon, as the sun lowered behind the hills, a man approached the city gate, dusty, weary, trembling. His robe was torn, his sandals worn through. He carried the look of a man defeated by life. The guards lowered their spears. What is your business in Abel? One asked. The man lifted his eyes slowly. I heard this is a city of wisdom. A place where peace lives. I have nowhere else to go. The wise woman, passing by, stopped and observed him. His posture told a story of pain, his silence carried the weight of mistakes. Bring him in, she instructed gently. Inside the courtyard, he fell to his knees before her. I have wronged many, he confessed. My choices destroyed my home. I feared judgment. But I heard that wisdom lives here, and I came hoping it might save my soul. The wise woman studied him. Wisdom does not condemn the repentant, she said softly. Only the unrepentant destroy themselves. Tears streamed down his dust-covered face. You seek restoration, she continued. And Abel is a place where new beginnings are possible. She signaled the elders. Give him water, food, and a place to rest. Let him rebuild his life among us. The man bowed his head to the ground, overwhelmed. He had fled to escape punishment. But found mercy instead. Weeks passed. Abel Beth-Maakah thrived. The noise of construction faded into celebrations. Children's laughter returned to the streets. Trade resumed. Visitors came seeking counsel. Where fear once lived, peace now overflowed. The wise woman walked through the marketplace, watching as the city blossomed like a vine restored after drought. Mothers sold spices and herbs. Fathers repaired fishing nets. Young women bartered fabrics with travelers. Young men trained in archery under the elders' supervision. The man she had taken in, once broken, afraid, ashamed, now worked joyfully among the builders, restoring roofs and mending doors with renewed purpose. One of the elders approached her. Your wisdom changed not just a moment, he said, but the direction of our future. She smiled softly. No, the people changed it. They chose unity when fear could have divided them. But you were the voice that guided us, the elder insisted.
She looked around at the thriving city with peaceful pride. Wisdom is not a crown, she whispered. It is a light, passed from one to another until all can see. One morning, a royal messenger arrived at the gate with a sealed scroll bearing the crest of King David. The city gathered as the wise woman accepted it. She broke the seal and unrolled the parchment. A hush fell. The letter read, "To the woman of Abel. Peace to you and all within your gates. Word has reached Jerusalem of your wisdom and courage. You prevented the shedding of innocent blood and preserved unity in Israel. May the Lord, who sees all things, reward you. David, King of Israel." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Even the king had heard of her. She lowered the scroll slowly, humbled. A young girl tugged her robe, whispering, "You're famous now." The wise woman chuckled softly. "No, child. Wisdom is famous. I only listened." The people smiled. Some cried. Some lifted their hands in thanksgiving. The honor was immense, but she wore it lightly. Because her heart remained anchored not in praise, but in purpose. As the seasons changed, the wise woman felt time moving gently through her bones. Her steps slowed, her hair shone brighter with silver, but her mind remained sharp as ever. One evening, she stood overlooking the city she loved, its rooftops glowing under the golden sunset. Her closest student, a young woman named Tirzah, approached. "You called for me?" Tirzah asked softly. The wise woman nodded. "You have listened well. Learned deeply. And the people trust your voice." Tirzah's eyes widened. "I am not ready," she whispered. "Neither was I," the wise woman replied. "Wisdom is not about readiness. It is about willingness." She placed her hand on Tirzah's shoulder. "Abel will always need guidance. When I am gone, you must be the one to speak truth, defend peace, and lead with humility." Tirzah swallowed hard, tears forming. "I will try." The wise woman smiled. "That is all wisdom ever asks." They stood together as the sun dipped behind the hills, 2 generations, 1 mantle, 1 legacy. As the story closes, imagine Abel Beth-Maakah from above, a city once threatened by war, now glowing with peace. A city saved not by armies, not by kings, but by the wisdom of one woman whose name Scripture never recorded, yet whose impact shaped generations. The wise woman of Abel teaches us. Wisdom is a weapon stronger than any sword. Courage is choosing truth even when voices tremble. Unity can save what fear tries to destroy. One voice, raised in righteousness, can rescue an entire people. Her legacy lives wherever counsel is honored, wherever peace is protected, wherever truth is spoken boldly. And she remains, forever. A mother in Israel. A guardian of peace. A beacon of wisdom.